The drawing fell from between the pages of Gary's work notebook. Just a simple crayon sketch of three stick figures holding hands: Mom, Dad, and a little girl with pigtails. I might have dismissed it as belonging to one of his colleagues' kids, except for the careful lettering at the bottom. To Daddy, love, Angela. My name is Edith, and until that moment, I thought I knew everything about my husband's life. Hey, babe, what's this? I held up the drawing as Gary walked into our home office. The colour drained from his face so quickly I thought he might faint. Oh, that's from work. Jim's daughter must have... He trailed off, reaching for the paper with trembling fingers. Jim's daughter is 15, Gary. She doesn't draw stick figures anymore. My voice remained steady, though my heart hammered against my ribs. Who's Angela? He fumbled with his tie, a nervous habit I'd always found endearing before. It's nothing, Edie. Just something that got mixed in with my papers. The nickname stung. He only called me Edie when he was trying to smooth things over. I pressed on. You're a financial advisor. Why would any child be drawing pictures for you? Look, I need to make some calls. He turned away, but not before I caught the panic in his eyes. We'll talk about this later. No. We'll talk about it now. I stepped between him and the door. Because this isn't the only strange thing lately, is it? The late nights, the mysterious phone calls, the weekends you suddenly have to work. My sister Heidi's face flashed through my mind. How she'd been avoiding our weekly coffee dates, making excuses about being busy. How she'd barely met my eyes at Mum's birthday dinner last month. Edie, please. Gary's voice cracked. Don't do this. Don't do what? Ask why my husband has a child's drawing signed to Daddy. The paper crumpled in my fist. Tell me the truth, Gary. For once, just tell me the truth. He sank into my office chair, head in his hands. I can't have this conversation right now. When then? When were you planning to tell me about Angela? The name felt foreign on my tongue. Is she yours? Do you have a second family somewhere? It's complicated, he whispered. I laughed, a harsh sound that surprised even me. Complicated? Try me. I'm a writer, Gary. I deal in complicated stories every day. My phone buzzed. A text from Heidi. Can we talk? It's important. The pieces clicked together with devastating clarity. The way Heidi had withdrawn over the past few years, her sudden move across town, the niece she occasionally mentioned but never brought to family gatherings. Oh God, I breathed. It's Heidi, isn't it? Angela is yours and Heidi's. Gary's silence was all the confirmation I needed. How long? My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. 7 years, he finally admitted. It just happened. We never meant... 7 years, the room spun. We've only been married 5. He reached for me, but I jerked away. Edie, please, we can work this out. We can get counselling. Don't touch me. I backed toward the door, clutching the drawing like a weapon. 7 years of lies. Both of you. My husband and my sister. Another text from Heidi. Edith, please, I know you found the drawing. Let me explain. I turned off my phone without responding. The magnitude of their betrayal threatened to crush me, but something else was rising through the pain, a cold, clear purpose. I need you to leave, I told Gary. Pack a bag and go. I don't care where. Edie. And tell my sister. I stopped, straightening my shoulders. Actually, don't tell her anything. I'll handle that myself. He stood, shoulders slumped in defeat. What are you going to do? I looked at the crumpled drawing in my hand, thinking of all the family dinners, all the holidays, all the moments they'd sat across from me knowing what they'd done. 7 years of deception, woven through every memory I thought I could trust. I'm going to write a story, I said quietly. The truest story I've ever told. Gary paled. Edith, please don't. Get out, I repeated. You have 30 minutes. As he hurried from the room, I smoothed out the drawing and pinned it to my bulletin board. Angela's stick figures smiled back at me, innocent of the storm they'd unleashed. I opened my laptop and began to type. I found the phone in his sock drawer, buried beneath a pile of Argyle patterns he never wore. A basic flip phone, the kind you'd buy if you didn't want it traced back to you. My hands shook as I opened it. The messages between them went back months, years. Miss you already. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Angela asked about you again. I sat on our bedroom floor, scrolling through their secret life, each message another knife in my chest. Photos of birthday parties I'd never known about. Christmas mornings I'd spent alone while Gary claimed to be working. Videos of a little girl blowing out candles, her face a perfect blend of my husband and my sister. My phone rang. Heidi again. This time I answered. Finally, she breathed. Edith, please let me explain. Explain what? I kept my voice flat. How you've been sleeping with my husband since before our wedding. How you have a child together. Please enlighten me. I'm coming over. Don't you dare. Too late. I'm already outside. I hung up and went downstairs. Sure enough, Heidi stood on my porch wearing the green sweater I'd given her last Christmas. The sight made me sick. Get off my property, I said through the screen door. Not until we talk. Her eyes were red-rimmed. You deserve to hear the whole story. The whole story? I yanked the door open. Like how you stood next to me at my wedding knowing you were carrying my husband's child. She flinched. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. How was it supposed to happen? I held up the flip phone. Were you planning to keep lying forever? We were going to tell you. She stepped inside, uninvited. After Angela was born, we tried to end it. We really did. But what? You just couldn't help yourselves. The bitterness in my laugh surprised even me. Poor Heidi and Gary, victims of their unstoppable passion. It's not like that. She sank onto my couch, our mother's old floral print monstrosity that had witnessed countless sister heart-to-hearts. We fell in love. Love? The word tasted like poison. You want to talk about love? I loved you both. I trusted you both. Angela asks about you, she whispered. She knows she has an aunt named Edith. Stop. I held up my hand. Don't you dare use that child to manipulate me. She's your niece. She's the product of your betrayal. I hurled the phone across the room. It shattered against the wall, pieces scattering like the fragments of my former life. Heidi jumped. Edith, please, we can fix this. Fix this? I laughed again, that same horrible sound. You can't fix 7 years of lies. You can't fix the fact that every memory I have is tainted now. Every family dinner, every holiday, every time you looked me in the eye and pretended everything was normal. What are you going to do? She stood, wringing her hands. Please don't tell Mom. It would kill her. Like you killed me? I moved to the front door, holding it open. Get out! Edith! Get out! The scream ripped from my throat, primal and raw. She fled but paused on the porch. We never meant to hurt you. Funny how that worked out. I slammed the door in her face. My phone buzzed with a text from Judah, my best friend. Hey, you okay? Heidi just called me crying. I typed back. Come over. Bring wine. Lots of it. 20 minutes later, Judah arrived with 2 bottles and a concerned expression. What happened? I pointed to the broken phone on the floor, then to Angela's drawing, which I'd brought downstairs. My husband and sister have been having an affair for 7 years. They have a daughter. Holy shit. He set the wine down and pulled me into a hug. Holy fucking shit. I let myself cry then, really cry, for the first time since finding the drawing. I don't know what to do. Judah held me tighter. Yes, you do. I can see it in your eyes. You have a plan. I pulled back, wiping my eyes. I'm going to write everything down, every detail, every lie, every moment of betrayal. And then I'm going to make sure everyone knows the truth. Are you sure that's wise? I walked to my desk, where my laptop still waited. They've had 7 years to tell their story. Now it's my turn. And after? Judah asked softly. I thought about the little girl in the videos, innocent of her parents' sins. About my mother, who deserved to know why her daughter's relationship had fractured. About every person who'd witnessed their deception without knowing it. After, I said, we're going to need more wine. The words poured out of me like poison from a wound. 3 days I spent writing, barely sleeping, fueled by coffee and rage. Judah brought me food I didn't eat and listened when I needed to scream. "Dear family and friends," I read aloud to him on the 4th morning, "what you're about to read is a story of betrayal." "Stop." Judah took the laptop from me. "When's the last time you showered?" I sniffed my shirt. "What day is it?" "Exactly." He closed my laptop. "Take a break. Get clean. Then we'll review this together." "I can't stop," I protested. "If I stop, I'll start thinking about them together, about all the times they—" "Shower, now." He pointed upstairs. "I'll make fresh coffee." Under the hot water, memories ambushed me, Heidi helping me pick out my wedding dress. "You look perfect," she'd said, tears in her eyes. Was she crying because her sister looked beautiful, or because she was sleeping with the groom? I got out, dried off, and found Judah in my office with 2 steaming mugs. "Better?" he asked. "Cleaner, at least." I sat down. "Will you read it?" He scrolled through the document, his expression darkening. "This is intense, very detailed. It needs to be. I want everyone to understand exactly what they did. Including the part about Heidi's miscarriage before Angela. Especially that." I took a sip of coffee. "That was the same month Gary and I were trying for a baby. He was consoling his mistress while telling his wife to be patient. My phone buzzed. Derek, my boss, checking if I was coming to the editorial meeting. I'd completely forgotten about work. "Tell him you're taking personal leave," Judah suggested. I texted back. "Family emergency. Need a week. Derek, take what you need. Call if you want to talk." "What about this part?" Judah pointed to the screen. "About finding Angela's medical records in Gary's email? Leave it in. Everyone should know they used our joint health insurance for his secret child. Edith." He hesitated. "Are you sure you want to expose Angela like this? She's innocent in all this." I stopped, remembering the videos on the flip phone. Angela learning to ride a bike, Gary running alongside her. Angela opening Christmas presents, Heidi filming and laughing. A family. My family. Built on lies. "You're right." I deleted that section. "The kid doesn't deserve this." "Maybe none of them do," Judah suggested gently. "Maybe there's another way." "Like what?" I spun to face him. "Family therapy? Forgiveness? They stole 7 years of my life, Judah. They watched me try to get pregnant, knowing they already had a child together. They sat across from me at Sunday dinners, playing happy family while living a double life." "I know, but nothing." I turned back to the laptop. "Actions have consequences. It's time they faced theirs." My phone buzzed again. Mom this time. "Haven't heard from you in days. Everything okay?" I showed Judah the message. "Should I tell her?" "She'll find out soon enough when you send this." I thought about Mom, how proud she'd been having 2 successful daughters. How she always bragged about our close relationship. "Sisters are forever," she'd say. "Maybe I should warn her," I said. "Before everyone else." "That's fair." Judah squeezed my shoulder. "Want me to stay while you call?" I shook my head. I need to do this alone. After he left, I stared at Mom's message for a long time before dialing. "Edith! Finally!" She sounded worried. "Are you sick? Heidi said she tried to visit, but you wouldn't let her in." "Mom," my voice cracked, "I need to tell you something about Heidi and Gary." Silence. Then, "Oh, sweetheart, you know?" The world tilted. "You knew?" I had suspicions, the way they looked at each other sometimes. And Angela, she has Gary's eyes. "Why didn't you tell me?" My fingers tightened on the phone. "How could you let me live this lie?" "I wasn't sure," she whispered. "I didn't want to hurt you without proof." And then, time passed. "Like father all over again," I said bitterly, remembering Dad's other family we'd discovered after his death. "Edith, please don't." "I'm writing it all down," I cut her off. "Everything. And I'm sending it to everyone we know." "That won't help." "No," I agreed. "But it might hurt them as much as they hurt me." I hung up and returned to my laptop. The cursor blinked at me, waiting. With trembling fingers, I began to type again. "P.S. To my mother. I'm sorry you had to watch history repeat itself. But this time the truth won't die with its secrets. The moment I hit send, my hands started shaking so badly I had to sit on them. 57 emails sent to everyone who mattered. Family, friends, colleagues, neighbours. Even Gary's parents, who'd always treated me like a daughter. My phone exploded almost immediately. First was Aunt Rachel. OMG, just reading this now. Call me. Then Uncle Steve. This can't be true. Tell me this isn't true. Cousin Maria. Holy shit, Edith, I'm coming over. I turned off my notifications and poured myself a generous glass of wine. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across my living room floor. Somewhere out there, people were reading my words, discovering the truth about Gary and Heidi. The doorbell rang. I ignored it. It rang again, followed by pounding. Edith, open up! It was Gary's mother, Patricia. I hadn't expected her so soon. Taking a deep breath, I opened the door. How dare you! She thrust her phone in my face, my email glowing on the screen. How dare you air our family's dirty laundry like this? Your family? I laughed. You mean the family that's been lying to me for 7 years? That family? We can deal with this privately, she hissed. You didn't have to tell the whole world. Like you dealt with it privately when you found out about Angela. Oh, wait. You knew too, didn't you? All those Christmas presents you sent to your neighbour's kid? She stepped back as if I'd slapped her. We were trying to protect you. Get off my porch. I started to close the door, but she blocked it with her foot. Gary loves you. Gary loves himself. I shoved the door harder. Now leave before I call the police. As she retreated, my phone started ringing again. Heidi's face appeared on the screen. Decline. Then Gary. Decline. Then a number I didn't recognize. Hello? Is this Edith? A small voice asked. I'm Angela. My heart stopped. How did you... I took Mommy's phone. She's crying in her room. A pause. Are you really my aunt? I sank to the floor, wine forgotten. Yes, I am. Why didn't I know you before? Why are you making Mommy cry? Angela! I heard Heidi's voice in the background. Who are you talking to? The line went dead. My doorbell rang again. This time it was Judah carrying Chinese takeout and more wine. Your email crashed our company's server, he said, setting the food down. Apparently everyone's reading it at once. Good. I grabbed a container of lo mein. Let them read. Let them all read. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. What have you done? Before I could respond, another message came through, from Derek, my boss. Just read your email. Come see me Monday. Think we can turn this into something bigger. What does that mean? Judah asked, reading over my shoulder. I don't know. I stabbed at my noodles. I don't care. Edith. He took my fork away. You have to care. This is your life too. The doorbell rang a third time. Through the window, I saw Maria, standing there with 2 bottles of tequila. Let her in, Judah said. You need your people right now. Maria burst in and hugged me so hard I couldn't breathe. I always knew there was something off about them, the way they'd whisper together at family gatherings. God, I'm so sorry. My phone kept lighting up with messages. We're here for you. Can't believe they did this. Always thought Heidi was sketchy. Gary's a bastard. And then, from Heidi, Angela's asking questions. What am I supposed to tell her? I threw my phone across the room. Maria poured shots. Judah ordered pizza. To karma, Maria raised her glass. May it bite them in the ass. To truth, Judah added. I picked up my shot but couldn't drink it. The image of Angela, confused and scared, kept floating through my mind. What have I done? What they deserved, Maria insisted. My phone buzzed again. A final text from Gary. I never meant for any of this to happen, but Angela's innocent. Please don't punish her for our mistakes. I looked at Judah and Maria, at the tequila and takeout, at my life exploding in real time across dozens of screens. Maybe, I whispered. There are no innocent people left. The night stretched ahead, full of messages I couldn't face and consequences I couldn't predict. But for the first time since finding that drawing, I felt something close to peace. The truth was out. What happened next wasn't up to me anymore. The fallout hit harder than I expected. By Monday morning, Gary's law firm had placed him on indefinite leave. Heidi's real estate clients were cancelling contracts left and right. Their carefully constructed world was crumbling, and I watched it happen through social media updates and frantic text messages from relatives. "You've caused quite a storm," Derek said when I walked into his office. "Sit down." I perched on the edge of his leather chair, expecting a lecture about professionalism. Instead, he slid a contract across his desk. "We want to publish your story." I blinked. "What?" "Your email went viral. It's been shared thousands of times." He leaned forward. "People are calling it a modern revenge saga. We want to turn it into a book." "I didn't write it for profit. No. You wrote it for justice." He tapped the contract. "But why not let your pain pay for a fresh start?" Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. "Mom again. Heidi's in the hospital. Anxiety attack. Please call me." "I need to think about it," I told Derek, standing up. "Don't think too long. Other publishers are already sniffing around." I found myself driving to the hospital despite every instinct screaming not to. In the parking lot, I sat gripping the steering wheel until another text came through. From Gary. "She's asking for you." The hospital corridors seemed endless. I found Mom in the waiting room, looking older than I'd ever seen her. "She's in there." She pointed to a room. "The doctors gave her something to calm down." "Why am I here?" I asked. "Because she's still your sister." Mom touched my arm. "And because you need to see what your revenge is doing to everyone." I walked into the room. Heidi lay curled on her side, hair tangled, mascara streaked down her face. She looked small, broken. "Come to finish me off?" Her voice was raspy. "You did this to yourself." She struggled to sit up. "I know, God, I know, but Angela." Fresh tears spilled. "Her school called. The other kids' parents read your email. They're saying horrible things to her." My stomach lurched. "I never meant to hurt an innocent child." "Neither did we at first." She wiped her eyes. "We were selfish and stupid and wrong. But Angela doesn't deserve this." "Neither did I." But my voice lacked conviction. "The firm fired Gary this morning," she continued. "My broker dropped me. Mum can barely look at us." "Are you happy now?" Before I could answer, a small figure appeared in the doorway, Angela clutching a stuffed rabbit with Gary right behind her. "Mommy?" Her eyes darted between us. "Is this Aunt Edith?" The room went silent. I stared at this child, my niece, my husband's daughter, the physical embodiment of their betrayal. She had Gary's eyes and Heidi's smile. "Yes," Heidi whispered. "That's your aunt." Angela approached me slowly, like you would a wild animal. "Why did you make everyone mad at Mommy and Daddy?" "Angela," Gary warned, but she continued. "Billy at school said his mom read a story about how bad my parents are, but they're not bad. They love me." I sank into a chair, the weight of what I'd done crushing me. Sometimes grown-ups hurt each other, even when they love someone else very much. "Like when I pulled Sarah's hair because she took my crayon?" Angela asked. "Mommy said just because I was angry doesn't mean I should hurt people." Out of the mouths of babes. My phone buzzed. Derek again. "Contract needs an answer by tomorrow." I looked at my sister in her hospital bed, my husband hovering protectively over his second family, this child wise beyond her years. The story I'd written had done its job, exposed their lies, destroyed their comfort, brought their secrets into the light. But at what cost? "I'm sorry about the kids at school," I told Angela. "That wasn't supposed to happen." "Can you make them stop?" I looked at Gary, then Heidi. "I don't know if I can, but I can try to fix some things." I pulled out my phone and typed a quick email to Derek. "No book deal. Some stories should stay in the family." "Does this mean you forgive us?" Heidi asked softly. "No." I stood up. "What you did. I don't know if I'll ever forgive that. But maybe we can find a way forward that doesn't destroy everyone in the process." Angela tugged at my sleeve. "Will you come to my dance recital next week? I'm a butterfly." I felt tears burning behind my eyes. Ask your mum and dad if that's okay first. Gary nodded slightly. Heidi managed a weak smile. I'd like that, I told Angela. Butterflies are survivors, you know. Just like you. Just like all of us, I realised, walking out of the hospital into the bright afternoon sun. Survivors of our own mistakes, our own revenge, our own healing. The therapist's office smelled like lavender and broken promises. Dr. Sarah sat across from me, her notepad balanced on her knee, waiting for me to speak. I turned down the book deal, I said finally. How did that make you feel? Like I was giving up my last weapon. I picked at a loose thread on my sleeve. But also, lighter somehow. And the dance recital is tomorrow? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. A text from Judah. Lunch. Need to tell you something important. Go, Dr. Sarah said, noticing my distraction. Same time next week? I met Judah at our usual cafe, but something was different. He seemed nervous, fidgety. Spit it out, I said, stirring my coffee. I got offered a job in Seattle. He wouldn't meet my eyes. And I think you should come with me. I nearly dropped my spoon. What? Think about it. Fresh start, new city, away from all of this. He reached across the table. My company needs a content writer. I already mentioned you to them. I can't just leave. Why not? What's keeping you here? A cheating ex? A sister who betrayed you? Painful memories around every corner? Before I could respond, my phone lit up with a text from Derek. Need to see you, urgent. I have to go, I told Judah, but we're not done talking about this. Derek was pacing his office when I arrived. Close the door. What's wrong? Someone leaked your email to the press. He handed me his tablet. It's trending. My stomach dropped as I read the headline. Local woman exposes family's 7-year affair in viral email. They're calling it the ultimate revenge story, Derek continued. News outlets want interviews. Publishers are still circling. This could be huge. No, I handed back the tablet. I'm done exposing people. Edith, I mean it. I headed for the door. And I'm taking 2 weeks vacation, starting now. I drove home in a daze only to find Mom sitting on my porch. I brought lasagna, she said, holding up a dish. And wine. Inside, as she served generous portions of both, she finally spoke. I should have told you my suspicions about Gary and Heidi. Why didn't you? Because I saw myself in you. She took a long sip of wine. When I found out about your father's other family, I wanted to burn his world down too. But revenge doesn't heal the hurt, sweetheart. It just spreads it around. Is that why you forgave him? I never forgave him. I just learned to live with the pain without letting it consume me. She reached for my hand. You're stronger than I was. You exposed the truth, but now you need to decide what to do with your strength. My phone buzzed again. Heidi. Angela's asking if you're still coming tomorrow. No pressure. Mom read the message over my shoulder. Are you going? I don't know. I pushed my lasagna around the plate. Judah wants me to move to Seattle. Running away won't fix anything. Neither will staying. No, she agreed, but staying means you're brave enough to face the mess and find a way through it. After she left, I sat in my empty house, thinking about Seattle, about Angela's dance recital, about revenge and healing and the space between. My phone buzzed one more time, a video message from Angela. Hi, Aunt Edith, look at my butterfly wings. She twirled in purple and silver glitter catching the light. Daddy says you might not come tomorrow, but I saved you a seat just in case. Front row. I watched it 3 times before calling Judah. I can't go to Seattle. Edith, I need to stay and fix what I broke, or at least try to build something new from the pieces. You don't owe them anything. No, I agreed, but I owe myself the chance to heal properly. Running away isn't healing. After we hung up, I texted Heidi, save me that front row seat. Then I emailed Derek. I want to write a different kind of story, not about revenge, but about forgiveness. About finding strength in broken places. Interested? His reply came quickly. Always, but only if you're ready. I looked at Angela's drawing still pinned to my bulletin board. The stick figures smiled back at me, reminding me of everything I'd lost, and everything I might still find. "I'm ready," I typed back, but this time I'm telling the whole story, the messy, complicated human story. No villains, no victims, just people trying to find their way back to themselves. Tomorrow I'd watch my niece dance as a butterfly. Tonight, I'd start writing again. Not for revenge this time, for redemption. The elementary school auditorium buzzed with excitement. I clutched my program, Angela's name printed in bold under Scene 4, the Butterfly Garden. The seat next to me remained empty until someone slid into it, just as the lights dimmed. "Thanks for coming," Gary whispered. I stiffened but didn't leave. "I'm here for Angela." The curtain rose on a sea of children dressed as flowers. Then the butterflies entered, Angela front and centre, her wings catching the stage lights. She spotted us and beamed. "She's beautiful," I murmured. "Edith," Gary's voice cracked. "Can we talk?" "After." Before I could answer, my phone vibrated. A text from Heidi backstage. She's been practicing her solo for weeks, hoping to impress her aunt. I watched Angela twirl and leap, her face radiant with joy. When her solo came, she danced with such pure happiness that I felt my carefully constructed walls begin to crack. After the show, she ran to us still in costume. "Did you see me? Did you see my butterfly dance?" "You were amazing." I knelt to her level. "Best butterfly I've ever seen." "Even better than real ones?" "Way better." I handed her the roses I'd brought. "These are for you." Heidi appeared, looking uncertain. "Angela, honey, let's get changed. Then maybe we could all get ice cream." I met her eyes, saw the hope and fear there. Ice cream sounds good. 20 minutes later, we sat in awkward silence at the local ice cream parlour watching Angela attack a sundae bigger than her head. "I got the job offers," Gary said suddenly. 3 firms in different states. "Are you leaving?" The question surprised me as much as him. "I don't know. Depends on—" He glanced at Heidi, then Angela. "Lots of things." "We're trying to figure out what's best for Angela," Heidi added softly. "What about your real estate business?" "Starting over. Different agency, different area." She stirred her melting ice cream. "Some clients stayed loyal." "Mommy, can I show Aunt Edith my report card?" Angela interrupted, pulling a folded paper from her pocket. "Straight A's," Heidi said proudly. "Even with everything—" "I'm sorry," I blurted out. Not for exposing the truth, but for how it affected Angela. "We're the ones who should be sorry," Gary replied. "We've been trying to tell you." "Don't," I held up my hand. "I'm not ready for apologies yet." "Then what are you ready for?" Heidi asked. I watched Angela scraping the bottom of her sundae, humming the butterfly song from her recital. "I'm ready to try being an aunt. A real one." "Really?" Angela's head shot up. "Can I come to your house? Daddy says you have a garden." "Speaking of houses," Gary cleared his throat, "I'm selling ours. Well, yours now, if you want it. The house where we'd built our marriage, where I'd found the drawing that changed everything." "Keep it," I said. "I'm moving anyway, not to Seattle," I added, seeing their expressions. "Just across town, fresh start." "Will you write about us again?" Angela asked innocently. The adults froze. "Yes," I said carefully, "but a different kind of story this time, about how sometimes families break but they can also heal, if they try hard enough. Like when my butterfly wing ripped before the show but Mommy fixed it. Exactly like that." My phone buzzed. Derek again. "First chapter due Monday. Ready?" "I should go." I stood up. "I have writing to do." "Aunt Edith," Angela hugged my waist, "will you come to my next recital? I'm going to be a dragonfly." I hugged her back, breathing in the scent of stage makeup and strawberry ice cream. "Wouldn't miss it." Outside, Gary caught up to me. "Edith, wait. About the house." "I meant what I said. Keep it. Angela should have a home she knows. And us? What are we?" I looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time since finding the drawing. "We're what we choose to be now. Parents to Angela, ex-husband and ex-wife. Maybe someday. Friends. I never stopped loving you, he whispered. Yes, you did. The moment you chose her, I stepped back. But that's okay. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes we need to love ourselves more. Through the window, I could see Heidi and Angela sharing the last of the ice cream, laughing at something. A family. Not mine anymore, but not my enemies either. I pulled out my phone and typed a quick message to Derek. First chapter coming tonight, title, The Butterfly Effect, A Story of Breaking and Healing. Then I walked to my car, leaving behind the weight of revenge and carrying instead the lighter burden of possibility. And that's how our story really ends, I read aloud, my finger hovering over the send button. Not with revenge, but with understanding. Not with forgiveness, exactly, but with acceptance. Perfect, Derek said from his office chair. Hit send. I submitted the final manuscript, then closed my laptop. Through his office window, autumn leaves danced across the parking lot. So what now? He asked. The book's done. The advance is paid. You could take some time off. My phone buzzed. A video from Heidi. Angela performing her dragonfly dance in their living room, wings slightly crooked but spirits soaring. Actually, I have an idea for my next project. I pulled out my notebook. Something about families. The ones we're born into, the ones we choose, and the ones we build from broken pieces. I'm listening. Before I could elaborate, Judah burst in. Sorry to interrupt, but you need to see this. He handed me his tablet. My book was trending on social media, not because of the scandal this time, but because of the healing. People are calling it raw and real, he said. They're sharing their own stories of betrayal and recovery. That's not why I wrote it. No, Derek agreed. But maybe that's why it needed to be written. My phone rang. Mom, have you seen the reviews? And Heidi called. She wants to know if you're still coming to dinner tonight. These Sunday dinners had become our new normal. Awkward at first, then gradually easier. Not the same as before. Nothing would ever be the same, but something new, something honest. Tell her I'll bring dessert. I gathered my things. And Mom? Thanks for making me stay. Outside, the autumn air carried the scent of wood smoke and possibilities. I drove to my new apartment, the one with the small garden where Angela helped me plant butterfly bushes last weekend. The manuscript box from my old house sat on my coffee table, still unopened. Inside were the original drafts, the angry ones, the hurt ones, the ones full of revenge. I carried it to the recycling bin and let it go. My doorbell rang. Gary stood there holding papers. The divorce is final, he said. I thought you might want to know. I know. I didn't invite him in. I got the email from my lawyer. Right. He shifted uncomfortably. I also wanted to tell you. I got offered a job in Chicago. Are you taking it? No. He looked at his feet. Angela needs both her parents. And? Maybe her aunt too? She has me. I met his eyes. That's one thing that won't change. You're a better person than we deserved. This isn't about deserving. I thought of my book, of all the messages from readers sharing their own journeys. It's about choosing who we want to be after everything falls apart. My phone chimed, a text from Heidi. Angela made you something. She's dying to give it to you at dinner. I should go, Gary said, reading the message over my shoulder. Thank you, Edith, for finding a way to tell the truth without destroying everything. Goodbye, Gary. I watched him walk away, remembering the man I'd married, accepting the man he'd become. Then I got ready for dinner. At Mom's house, Angela ran to meet me, clutching a piece of paper. Look what I drew. It was another stick figure drawing, but this time with 4 people. That's Mommy and Daddy and me, she pointed. And that's you, Aunt Edith. See your butterfly garden? I hugged her tight, breathing in the scent of crayons and innocence. Heidi appeared in the doorway, looking uncertain until I smiled. Come on, I said to Angela. Show me where to put the dessert. Later, as we sat around Mum's table passing dishes and sharing stories, I realized something. This wasn't the family I'd planned on having, but it was the family I had. Imperfect, complicated, real. My phone lit up with a final message from Derek. Your book just hit the bestseller list. Congratulations. I looked at Angela, proudly showing Mom her drawing, at Heidi cautiously offering me more salad, at all of us, finding our way forward together. Thanks, I typed back. But the real story isn't on those pages. It's happening right here, right now. One dinner, one drawing, one moment at a time. Then I put my phone away and reached for the salad bowl. After all, some stories don't need to be written. They just need to be lived.